परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अथ अष्टादशोऽध्यायः। So we are seeing the 18th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, the last chapter in Bhagavad Gita. And in my last video, I explained till sloka 66 of chapter 18. And in that sloka 66 of chapter 18, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, Sarva dharman parityajya mameva sharanam vraja. Leave all your dharmas and surrender to me. Bhagavan Krishna said to Arjuna, in that way he is telling to all of us, Aham tva sarva bhavebhyo mokshayishyami. I will relieve you from all your difficulties, from all your papas. Ma suchaha. Do not worry, do not grieve, Arjuna, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said. And from this shloka, that is from the next shloka, sloka 67, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is telling about the Palashruti of reading and teaching Bhagavad Gita, and he also is telling about who are qualified to study or hear this Bhagavad Gita. So let us see from Shloka 67, chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita. Yedam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shukshrushave vachyam na cha mam yobhyasuyati. Bhavan is telling that who are qualified to hear or study this Bhagavad Gita. A person who is atapaskaya, who is do not do na atapaskaya. Atapaskaya means all that austerities. Na atapaskaya means one who do not do any austerities like doing pujas or worshipping Bhagavan, chanting mantras, going to temples or doing yajnas. If he is not involved in any one of them, then kadachana, do not and never tell Bhagavad Gita, do not speak Bhagavad Gita to that person. A person who do not follow any type of austerities. So one should not tell Bhagavad Gita to a person who does not follow any austerities. Now, a bhaktaya, who is not a bhakta of Bhagavan, who is not devoted to Bhagavan, one should not tell Bhagavad Gita to such a person. Now, sushrukshave. Sushrushrave means one who do not take care of others or do service to others or help others in any way or do service to Bhagavan. In any way, if a person do not help others, that to that person, if he is a very selfish person, we should not tell Bhagavad Gita to that person. Yaha abhyasuyati. Abhyasuyati means a person who condemn Bhagavan or who do not respect Bhagavan Krishna. Mainly, many people think that Bhagavan Krishna is a human being, a Raja, just like that they think. Many people do not accept Bhagavan Krishna as Paramatma because they do not have that knowledge, they are ignorant about it. So many people do not accept Bhagavan Krishna as Bhagavan, Paramatma. To such a person, to people who do not believe Bhagavan as a Bhagavan, one should not tell this Bhagavad Gita, or a person who do not respect this Bhagavad Gita. Many people will criticize with Bhagavad Gita. How can this be possible? How can all this can be followed in this time? That also in this period of the Kali Yuga, in this data age, how can that be followed? And many people do not believe in Bhagavad Gita also. Many people say that it's all the words of Veda Vyasa. Because how can two people have dialogue in the center of a war field? Is it possible? Like that, many people will question. The thing is, we know only about the three dimensions. That is height, length, and breadth. That's all we know. We have the knowledge of only these three dimensions. But there are more dimensions than this. We may not be aware of it. There may be the fourth dimension, which is next to it, where the time and space will join together. So, like this, there are many dimensions. Even the great jnanis, they know about the fourth dimension. The great jnanis or acharyas like Shankaracharya or the great siddhas or the great jnanis, they use this fourth dimension to for them to work and to do service to this world. So, what to think about Bhagavan? We might have heard that Sri Adi Shankaracharya traveled uh, by air. There is Ashtama Siddhis they have. For all this, this fourth dimension is very important. In that dimension, the time and space, everything will be reduced. What we know, it is more than that. So Bhagavan might have used that dimension, or he might tell this Bhagavad Gita directly to the mind of Sri Arjuna, or whatever it is. Why should we care for all those things? Because we do not understand, will not understand it. Anyway, this is a great secret advice, the greatest wisdom. Bhagavan itself says, if there is no Bhagavad Gita, how will we know about these concepts? How will we know that we are all Atma? There is no Vedanta or no Upanishads, how will we know all that? So it is better to follow Bhagavad Gita than to analyze whether it is true, or is it the words of Bhagavan Krishna, or is it the words of Sri Vedavyasa. All those things we cannot analyze and find out. So it is better to follow Bhagavad Gita and accept the words of Bhagavan Krishna. So a person who criticize all this, who question all this, they may not believe in Bhagavad Gita. So no need to change them. But Bhagavad Gita should not be spoken to such people who do not believe in Bhagavan, or who do not believe in this the sacred dialogue between Bhagavan Krishna and Arjuna. So one should not speak Bhagavad Gita in a place where it is not respected. What Bhagavad Gita should not be spoken to to a person who is not devoted to Bhagavan, who do not follow any austerities, who is very selfish and who do not help others or do service to Bhagavan or to other people, or a person who criticizes Bhagavad Gita. So it should not be spoken to all these people, to a person who have all this nature. In the next shloka, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Swayam, Bhagavan Krishna itself, he tells about the Palashruti of the people who use this Bhagavad Gita in various ways. Let us see shloka 68. Yahimam paramam guhyam madbhakteshvabhidasyati bhaktim mahi parang kritva mamye vaishyatya samshayah. Bhagavan Sri Krishna is telling that a person who declare this Bhagavad Gita, or teach this Bhagavad Gita, or share this explanation of Bhagavad Gita to the devotees of Bhagavan with devotion, a person who teach Bhagavad Gita with devotion to the devotees of Bhagavan, that person will come to me. That person shall come to me. Asamshayah. There is no doubt in it. He will be relieved of all doubts. His mind will be purified. A person who teach this Bhagavad Gita, he will definitely, without no doubt, he will come to me. That's the word of, but these are the words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Mam eva aishyati asamshayah. He will come to me doubtlessly, without any doubt. But he must do it with devotion, and he must tell it to the bhaktas of Bhagavan. And in the next shloka also, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is telling about the person who teach Bhagavad Gita. Nacha tasman manushyeshu kaschinme priyakrittamaha bhavita nacha me tasmat anyah priyataro bhuvi. Bhagavan is telling, the person who declared this Bhagavad Gita to others, to the devotees of Bhagavan, or who teach Bhagavad Gita, he is doing Priyakritam, he is doing a very dear service to me. That person who teach Bhagavad Gita, he is doing a service to Bhagavan. Not a service to anyone else, to the service to Bhagavan directly. That's why he is teaching this Bhagavad Gita. So such a person, he is doing a dearer service to me. And so he is dearer to me. Among all the people on the earth, among all the beings on the earth, that person who teach Bhagavad Gita to others, he is dearer to me because he is doing a service to me. Bhagavan Sri Krishna giving these words in the shlokas 68 and 69 of chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita. Now he is telling about the people who study Bhagavad Gita. अद्येष्यते च यमिमं धर्म्यं संवादमावयोः ज्ञानयज्ञेन तेनाहम् इष्टस्यामिति मे मतिः. Bhagavan is telling a person dharmyam samvadamavayoho. That is a person who study this sacred dharmam, sacred samvadam, the dialogue between ours, that Bhagavan is telling, the dialogue between ours, that is the dialogue between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Sri Arjuna. A person who study this dialogue between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Sri Arjuna, that person is doing a jnana yajna. Jnana yajnena. By jnana yajna, he is worshipping Bhagavan. There are so many ways to worship Bhagavan. We can do puja, we can go to temples, we can meditate on Bhagavan. All these are very good, but a person who study Bhagavad Gita with devotion, he is doing jnana yajna, and by that way he is worshipping Bhagavan. So, more than any of the yajnas, Jnana Yajna is very great because it is completely we are doing with the mind. All the other yajnas we use the material, and it is through the physical action we are connecting with Bhagavan through the mind. But the Jnana Yajna is through the mind itself, by the action of the mind we are connecting with Bhagavan. So that is more superior than any yajnas. So a person who study Bhagavad Gita with devotion, he is doing jnana yajna, and by that he is worshipping me. Bhagavan Sri Krishna is telling. Shraddhavananasuyascha shrunuyadapi yo naraha sopi mukta shubhan lokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. Now Bhagavan is telling about a person who hear Shrunuyadhabi, one who hear Bhagavad Gita with devotion, with complete faith, and without any negative thoughts, anasuyaha, any negative thoughts like criticizing Bhagavan or just taking Bhagavad Gita easily, or always finding fault with others, and by that way spoiling the mind. So a person who do not give respect to this Bhagavad Gita, just some people will just hear it just like hearing any song. So that will not benefit them better, but in one way it will benefit them, because by repeatedly hearing it, naturally their nature will change. But a person who hear this Bhagavad Gita with pure mind, with the complete devotion to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, that person will definitely reach the Shubhan Lokan, that is the happy world, which is compared to Swarga. In that world, any grief, we will not be aware of any grief, only we will be conscious about the happiness and that Sukham, Santosha, only that we will be aware of. He will reach that loka, that is the happy loka, which is reached by all the people who do punya karma. So the people who do other punya karmas, they also will come to this person, this place, that is this Shubhan Loka. And the person who hear Bhagavad Gita, a person who study Bhagavad Gita, he is doing Jnana Yajna. He will attain the Loka more greater than this. But a person merely who hear Bhagavad Gita, he will definitely reach that Shubhan Loka, that happy world, where all the other people who do many punya karmas, they will also reach there. So punya is this Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, in this sloka, in this last sloka, he is asking Sri Arjuna, Kaschidedat Shrutam Partha Tvayaigagrena Chetasa Kaschidajnana Sammohaha Pranashtaste Dhananjaya. Bhagavan Sri Krishna is asking to Arjuna, Partha, so precious is this advice or this wisdom which I gave to you. Have you heard it everything with ekakrata? With ekakrata of chetasa, with the ekakrata of mind, did you hear it? Because this wisdom which I said to you, which I declared to you, Arjuna, is so precious. Guhyat guhyataram. A person who teach it will reach me. A person who study this Bhagavad Gita is doing Jnana Yajna. A person who merely hear this Bhagavad Gita, he will reach the Punya Loka. So have you, Arjuna, heard it with complete concentration of mind? Bhagavan Sri Krishna is asking. And are you relieved from mukta, from the ignorance, delusion of ignorance? You had so many questions in your mind before hearing this Bhagavad Gita. Are you relieved from all that? And this is the last shloka which Bhagavan spoke in this Bhagavad Gita. And after this, slokas are spoken by Arjuna and Sanjay. And also, this is the last words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He began his words in chapter 2, shloka 11. And with this is after telling the Palashruti, this is the last shloka in Bhagavad Gita spoken by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So it is the question he asked to Sri Arjuna. Have you heard all this with complete concentration of mind, Arjuna? Or all your delusion or ignorance removed from you? And for that, Sri Arjuna answers, Arjuna uvacha nashto mohasmriti labdha tvat prasadanmayachyuta stitosmi gada sandehah karishye vachanantava. Sri Arjuna answers now, yes, all my doubts and the ignorance of mine are removed, destroyed by the smriti. That is, smriti, direct meaning is memory, but here it means the knowledge. Yes, of course, Krishna, all my doubts, my ignorance were removed by Tvat Prasadat, by your grace, by the wisdom you imparted to me. All my doubts and all my ignorance were removed, Krishna, and I remain Gada Sandehaha. I remain free from all the doubts. I am freed from all the doubts. Now I have my mind very clear. So, because of your grace, all the doubts in me were removed, Krishna. Sri Arjuna answers to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And this is the last uh, verse of Sri Arjuna also. And in these 700 shlokas, Bhagavan spoke 572 shlokas. The rest were spoken or the questions asked by Sri Arjuna and Sanjaya, and only one shloka by the blind king Dhritarashtra. So 572 shlokas were spoken by Bhagavan Paramatma, Jagat Guru Sri Krishna. By that 572 shlokas, he imparted that Guhya, that secret of all secrets to all of us. And now Sanjaya says, Sanjaya Uvacha Ityaham Vasudevasya Parthasya cha Mahatmanah Samvadamimam Shrausham Adbhudam Romaharshanam. This Adbhuta dialogue which I heard, the dialogue between Vasudevasya Parthasya cha, the dialogue between Vasudeva, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, and Arjuna, that dialogue which is Adbhutam, I heard it, and it causes the hair on my body to stand on its end. So much of horripilations we see. So that dialogue, it creates a somewhat feeling in me because that dialogue is so Adbhutam, Sri Sanjaya says. And now he thanks Veda Vyasa for giving him this power to hear this dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna. In the next shloka, shloka 75, Sanjaya says, Vyasa prasadat shrutavan yedad guhyamaham param yogam yogeshwarat krishnat sakshat kathayata swayam. This dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, I heard it directly because of the power given to me by Sri Vedavyasa. He gave me this divine drishti, and because of that drishti, I was able to see Swayam, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Swayam, and hear him say all these words to Sri Arjuna. In a way, Sri Sanjaya was really very lucky. Only two people heard this Bhagavad Gita directly from Bhagavan Krishna. One is Sri Arjuna, and the other is Sri Sanjaya, the charioteer of the king Dhritarashtra. I think, in my view, Sanjaya has done more punya than Arjuna, because Arjuna is involved in that war. Because he had this ignorance, he asked Bhagavan so many questions and he was in so much of tension. But Sanjaya, he is not involved in that war. He is only a charioteer of that king. And he was able to hear all this wisdom with pure mind without any tension. He was able to grasp all that completely. In Mahabharata, there is an incident that after this Mahabharata war was over, everyone went to their own place. Bhagavan Krishna back to Dwaraka, and the Pandavas, they took their kingdom and they were ruling. At that time, Sri Arjuna was recollecting all those dialogue which happened between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and himself in that center of the battlefield. That is, he was remembering all this Bhagavad Gita, recollecting all that Bhagavad Gita. But he could not recollect it properly because he heard it with so much of tension. So he went again to Bhagavan Sri Krishna and requested Bhagavan Krishna, Krishna, you gave me such a great wisdom, but I was not able to register all that completely because I was in so much of tension. I forgot something and I didn't register in my mind something. So, can you please repeat that to Bhagavad Gita? He requests to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, and for that, with so much of patience, many important shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna will again repeat it to Sri Arjuna, and that is said as Anugita. So, when you hear anything with so much of tension in our mind, we may not be able to register that properly. But Sanjaya was relieved of all that tension, and here he heard that Bhagavad Gita directly, Swayam, the words of Bhagavan Krishna Swayam, he heard it and he was rejoicing in it. And actually, when Vedavyasa came to the palace of that Kauravas, before the war, all that war started, Sri Vedavyasa asked King Dhritarashtra, you cannot take part in that war because any king has to take part in the war in which their nation, which their kingdom is involved. But because of your physical disability, you cannot take part in that war, great war. So Sri Vedavyasa asked Dhritarashtra, you cannot take part in this war. So instead of sitting here, shall I give you a Divya Drishti? By that you can see what all are happening in the war field. But Dhritarashtra said, uh, no, I do not want that Divya Drishti. Because if I have that Divya Drishti, then I will see what are all happening in that war field. I cannot see my sons dying in the war field. I cannot see my sons killed by the Pandavas. So I do not want that drishti. So Dhritarashtra rejected it. At that time, his charioteer, Sri Sanjaya, was standing near him. And Vedavyasa, he asked Sanjaya, now, okay, shall I give you that Divya Drishti? Will you see what are all are happening in the war field? And will you report it to your king? Immediately, Sri Sanjaya accepted that power, and that is why the charioteer of King Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya, he got that Divya Drishti from Sri Vedavyasa. So he is recollecting all that and he is just worshipping Vedavyasa. Only because of that power he was able to what are all happening in the war field. This wisdom is yogam. Yogam Yogeshwarat Krishnat Sakshat Katayata Swayam. This yoga, this wisdom is said by Yogeshwara, the Lord of the Yogas, Krishna Swayam, Sakshat Swayam. He Katayata, he said this, he himself said this yoga. This entire Bhagavad Gita is said as the yoga because it is Jnana Yoga. Yoga means Yujyate iti yoga. That is one which merges the Atma with Paramatma is said as yoga. There are different ways in which we can merge this Atma with Paramatma. But through Jnana, if we merge Atma with Paramatma, then it is said as Jnana Yoga. That's why this wisdom is said as a yoga. This is Jnana Yoga. And that's why all the chapters in Bhagavad Gita are connected with this word. Just like Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, like this. So the yoga, this is a wisdom, and that also said by the Lord of Yoga, Bhagavan Sri Krishna Swayam. Only because of that power, I am able to hear all this. And he is telling with so much of gratitude. Sri Sanjaya is declaring it. And again he says, Rajan samsmritya samsmritya samvadam imam adbhutam keshavarjunayo punyam krishyami cha muhurmuho. Rajan samsmritya samsmritya, remembering it muhurmuhu, again and again, I rejoice in it. Krishyami, I rejoice in it. This dialogue is so great between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Arjuna. I am hearing it again and again and I am rejoicing in it. This Sanjaya says, and again he says, Tacha samsmritya samsmritya रूपमद्भुतं हरेः विस्मयो मे महान् राजन् हृष्यामि च पुनः पुनः. And also remembering that Adbhuta Rupa of Bhagavan, that Vishwarupa of Bhagavan, I am remembering it again and again, punah punaha, again and again, and I am rejoicing in it, Rajan. He is just thinking about all that and rejoicing over it. So that's the mental state of Sanjaya in this moment. So we also can rejoice like that. Just think about that Vishwarupa of Bhagavan. Okay, that explanation of that Vishwarupa we have to keep in mind and think over it again and again. So just like Sanjaya, we can also do that. And the next is the last shloka in Bhagavad Gita, the 700th shloka in Bhagavad Gita. And this is last shloka in Bhagavad Gita is said by Sanjaya. This Bhagavad Gita began with the words of King Dhritarashtra. He asked Sanjaya, "What is happening in the war field of Kurukshetra? What are my sons and the sons of Pandava doing there?" It began with the uh, doubt of Dhritarashtra king. He inquired Sanjaya, "What's happening there?" The main reason for this doubt arising in the mind of Sri Dhritarashtra is actually this Bhagavad Gita is revealed to the world, to declare to the world by Sri Sanjaya on the 10th day of the Mahabharata war. It happened for 18 days, and on the 10th day, this dialogue is coming to the world. Actually, Bhagavan Sri Krishna gave this wisdom to Arjuna on the first day of the war itself. Before the war commenced, he gave. But Sri Sanjaya declared this knowledge, wisdom to the world on the 10th day of the Mahabharata war. The reason for that is on the 10th day of the Mahabharata war, it was a very crucial day for both the Kauravas and the Pandavas because on the 10th day only, Bhishma Sarya was shot by arrows by Arjuna. And so Bhishmacharya fell. And he fell on that, he was lying on that bed of arrows, flowing completely, blood is coming out from his body from everywhere, every point. So when Sanjaya said this, Bhishmacharya fell down. King Dhritarashtra had a very great doubt in his mind. Dhritarashtra was so shocked. How can Bhishmacharya, a great warrior like Bhishmacharya, can be shot by arrows by that too by Arjuna? Because Arjuna was so dear to Bhishmacharya. He was so dear, and that also Bhishmacharya was a great warrior. No one can win him, and a very steady person, a great tapasvi, and we can go on describing Bhishmacharya. So everyone was shocked. So Dhritarashtra, King Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya, "What's the reason for it?" And for that, Sri Sanjaya said, "Rajan, before the war commenced, Bhagavan Sri Krishna imparted wisdom, jnana yoga to Sri Arjuna. And because of that strength of the mind, he was able to attack Bhishmacharya. So that emotional concept and everything, that emotion, Bhagavan Sri Krishna wiped away from the mind of Arjuna. And only because of that, he was able to target arrows on Bhishmacharya. And now Bhishmacharya had fell. And he explained all this Bhagavad Gita. That's how this Bhagavad Gita is declared to King Dhritarashtra. And by that way, we all are able to hear this Bhagavad Gita. So, this is the last shloka in Bhagavad Gita, the 78th shloka in this chapter. So, let us see this last shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Yatra yogeshwara Krishna yatra partho dhanurdhara tatra shri vichayodbhuti dhruvani tirmatirmama. Wherever yatra yogeshwara Krishna, wherever the Lord of Yoga Krishna is there, yatra partho dhanurdharaha, wherever the Partha, the great archer, is there, in that place That is, which implies wherever Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Sri Arjuna is there, wherever Bhagavad Gita is there, wherever it is read, it is taught, or it is studied, or the presence of Bhagavad Gita, or the at least the picture of Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Sri Arjuna, wherever it is there, in that place, Tatra, Shri, prosperity, Vijaya, victory, Bhuti, happiness, Dhruti, firmness, Niti, justice will be there. So this is my conviction, Sri Sanjaya says. So hearing all the dialogue between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Sri Arjuna, Sri Sanjaya is now declaring that wherever this Bhagavad Gita is there, in that place, prosperity, victory, determination, niti, that is justice, everything will be there. So, with this beautiful shloka, Sri Sanjaya is concluding this Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita, it had 700 shlokas, and in some editions it will have 701 shlokas because of the one question asked by some editions. They included that question asked by Sri Arjuna. So that is the conclusion of this chapter, chapter 18. In this chapter, which is called Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, in the opening shloka of this chapter, Sri Arjuna asked Bhagavan Sri Krishna to tell in detail about sannyasa, renunciation, and tyaga, abandonment. And for that, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, sannyasa is completely renouncing all the actions itself, but tyaga is non-attachment to the result of the fruits of the action. And one should not renounce the action in the beginning itself, because some actions like austerities, dana, tapas, and yagna, all these are the mind purifiers. It purifies our mind. So one should not renounce the action in the beginning itself. Instead, we have to perform all this and be unattached with the fruits of the action, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said. And he said about the threefold phala a person get for his action. That is, the first is the very good result. He attains the higher lokas. The next is the very bad, very evil results a person get for his karma. If he perform any bad action, that he may take as the lower beings. Then the next is the mixed good and bad, evil actions mixed together. That is, he will get a human birth. And he said that everything in this world is based on the gunas. A jnani will not identify himself as the karta or the bhokta. He will identify himself with the self. But other people, they will identify that I am the karta and I am the bhokta, so they get their own results like that. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna said about the three types of knowledge, jnana, the three types of karma, the three types of karta, the three types of intellect, buddhi, the three types of dhruti, firmness, the three types of uh, pleasures, sukham. All these are based on our gunas, that is the sattvika, rajasika, and tamasika gunas, because this what are all evolved from this prakriti, it has these three gunas, because we all are the manifestation of prakriti, and the prakriti itself is constituted of these three gunas. So all are of three types, and the varnas, they are also based on these gunas, and based on the varna only a person can do the karma. A person should not abandon a duty because it doesn't give merit, or the should not follow others' duty because it is more profitable, because every duty will have its own positives and negatives. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna said one has to do the duty without any expectation. By that, his mind is purified, his intellect becomes purified, and he controls the senses. Stay in solitude and practice this jnana. So, such a person renouncing everything, his mind fixed on me, he will cross over all the obstacles in life. The other people, if they have the ahankara that I am doing that, then sometimes the obstacles will block them. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna said that this knowledge is greatest of the greatest, the secret of the secret, guhyat guhyataram. And I have declared this knowledge to you, Arjuna, because you are very dear to me. And you reflect over it, you think over it. If you feel it is right to follow, you follow it. Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, and in the sloka 66, he said, leave all your karmas and surrender to me. Take refuge in me. I will take care of you. I will relieve you from all your papas and mas chaha. And in the last few shlokas, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, he himself said about the Falashruti of this Bhagavad Gita. A person who teaches Bhagavad Gita, he will definitely will come to me. He is very dear to me because he is doing a service to me. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, who study this Bhagavad Gita, he is doing a jnana yajna, and by that way he is worshipping him. And a person who hears this Bhagavad Gita, he will reach the Shubhan Loka and the happy lokas. So that is the Bhagavad Gita. Om Tat Satiti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Moksha Sannyasa Yogo Nama Ashtadashodhyayah. So I thank Bhagavan Sri Krishna for giving me this buddhi and strength to explain his words. And I thank all my gurus for imparting me this knowledge. And I thank my Manasika Guru Bhagavan Dakshinamurti for giving me this knowledge to share it with others. And I thank all my gurus for helping me get this knowledge. And I thank all of you, my viewers and my subscribers, for supporting me to do this project. To the best of my ability, I have shared this knowledge with you. I believe that definitely it will help you to go further deep into Bhagavad Gita. It will definitely help you to take forward Bhagavad Gita, to study more about Bhagavad Gita. So I will see you again explaining another scripture. Om Tat Sat. Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishnah Yatra Partho Dhanurdharah Tatra Shri Vijayorbhuti Dhruvani Tirmatirmama. Om Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.